What is up, YouTube? That's it here, bringing you guys an extra special video. We are continuing my top 5 series, and it's an extra special video today because I'm bringing you guys a top 10 poison type Pokemon. There are so many poison type Pokemon in this game. You would not believe it. You do not believe it. Like, literally, I'm going to show you guys a list of the actual Pokemon that are in the game that are poison types that are fully evolved, and it's going to blow your mind. So there's by far and away enough Pokemon to make a top 10 and almost enough for a top 15. That's how popular they are. So guys, before we actually get into this, I just wanted to say, note that I'm in the Elite Four. I'm with Agatha, and a lot of you guys are probably wondering, like, why are you next to Agatha? She's the ghost type trainer. You might think that she's the ghost type trainer, but in reality, she's totally a poison type trainer. Yeah, she has Gengar, but she also has Arbok, Weezing, Golbat. Agatha's totally a poison type trainer, guys. You heard it here first. Let me know in the comments below if that blew your mind and if you already knew that, or if you were already smart enough to figure that out. Also, while you're in the comments, let me know what type you want to see me work on next. I know Flying, Ground, Psychic, we still haven't done any of those types. They're extremely popular. Let me know what type you want to see me cover in the next top 5 or top 10 video, depending on how many there are. And I would really appreciate it. You guys, if those of you guys that let me know stuff like that in the comments, like the videos, watch till the end, you guys are all my absolute favorite people, and this is going to be a kind of long video, so we're going to hop right in it because we have 10 poison type Pokemon to run down. So we're going to go right into the partner box like we always do. Look how many poison type Pokemon there are. There's 6, 12, 14 fully evolved poison types, and I didn't have Haunter up here, but like Haunter's like not even bad either. Like neither is like Weeping Bell. Like there's almost enough to have like a top 15. There's just so many. Like there's base poison types, like Weezing and Arbok and Muck. But then poison types share so many types. You got poison grounds, you got poison bugs, poison grasses, poison ghosts, poison flying, poison water. There's poison everything. And I just really think that poison is just a sleeper type. I had no idea. I was like, oh yeah, there's some pretty good poison types in this game. You think of Beedrill, think of Gengar, think of Venusaur, but there are just so many good poison types. And guys, some of the strengths and weaknesses of poison types, let's talk about some weaknesses to start things off, which is probably why it's kind of slept on, is because it's really weak to Psychic, it's really weak to Ground. Like those are probably the two most popular types. Obviously, Psychic is the most popular offensive type of choice. Like, Mewtwo's really good, Alakazam's really good. Psychics are sweepers, and they're all a lot faster than most of these Pokemon. So, Psychic types are Tier 1 in Gen 1. And then, like, one of the most powerful TMs in the game is Earthquake. Every single team has, like, one ground Pokemon. They usually have a Stealth Rocks user. And, it makes sense why people can kind of sleep on Poison, because they're pretty much weak to the things that are really popular, and their strengths, well, they're not really that strong against a lot of things. Like a lot of the grass types, again, are grass poison, so you can't really use that as a strength. There's no real fairies in this game, so poison's a really unique type, but I feel that a lot of these Pokemon rely on their secondary type more, and we're going to see that the ones that have the better secondary typings rank a lot higher in the list. So we're going to start things off with one of my favorite Pokemon. One of my favorite Pokemon in the game, it's Golbat. I love Golbat. Some of you guys know that I actually love Golbats. Oh, I already had these Pokemon on my team so I could beat the Elite Four. Yeah, I'm trying to grind my Mew up to level 100, guys. So anyways, yeah, Golbat right now. Golbat, we're going to check this guy out right here. I've always loved Golbat. Eevee like Golbat was one of my favorite Pokemon back in the day. I really do feel that you need to be jolly, and someone actually, enlightened me on the fact that, like, you don't have to be jolly. This is in my top natures video for every single Pokemon. They said you could go timid as well and make it like a special Golbat with, like, Mega Drain and Air Slash. And I'm going to say you most definitely can do that. I don't really recommend it just because Golbat's special attack is so much lower than its base attack stat, which isn't really terrible, but note that since Golbat has a 95 base speed, you kind of have to go a plus speed nature regardless, because you need to be able to be faster than things that are like in the 80s that have the plus speed natures for some reason, and also you can catch things that are like base 100 and 105s off guard if you're plus speed nature. So we're gonna look at my moveset and what makes Golbat so unique. So obviously Toxic, and again, some more tips for those of you guys that didn't know the stuff. Toxic, if being used by a poison type, is actually 100% accuracy. It says Toxic can normally miss, but if a poison type Pokemon uses Toxic, it is 100% accurate. So let me know if you figured that one out in the comments. Let me know if you already knew that, or if you didn't. I have a bunch of little like tips and tricks like this. I could probably make a video of a bunch of like unrealized like top 10 things you didn't know about Pokemon, and the toxic little thing is one of them. I think it's really cool. I think they should fix it just say 100 on if it's being used on a poison type, but whatever, that's a little hotfix. Anyways, yeah, Toxic, remember guys, it's going to put poison and it's going to double the damage every single turn. Toxic is such a good move, and this is one of the best Toxic stallers in the game because it gets Taunt, and remember, it has like a 95 base speed, so like, if you're Toxic stalling like a Chansey or a Snorlax, they can't use Rest to go back to sleep to get rid of the Toxic. They can't use Soft Boiled. Nothing can use Roost. Nothing's going to ever be able to get out of the Toxic. You can just taunt them and then just spam Roost. So you put up Toxic, spam Roost the turn, and put up a taunt the turn you think they're going to try and get rid of it. And also, I have Fly on here because, LOL, that's freaking hilarious. It stabs Fly because you're a flying type, right? Fly, it's going to make it go in the air. It's a 90 base move, and then you come down. So you put up Toxic, take a little bit of damage, Roost back up to full, pop a Fly, right? So the whole time they're taking these Toxic turns, and then, like, so you use Fly, they take a tick, next turn, like, you land, hit them with the Fly, they take another tick. Like, it's actually hilarious. Like, Fly, it's kind of like having Protect on it, or like having a sub. It's like a get out of jail free card for like one turn to get that one more tick of Toxic off. So Golbat is a really, really cool Pokemon. I've used it in a couple videos, and I plan on using it a lot more. But, you know, it doesn't really keep up with a lot of the other poison type Pokemon on the list, because think about it, like Crobat, which a lot of you guys know from the other games, is a pretty decent Pokemon, and even Crobat, with its like miraculous 130 base speed stat, can't keep up with a lot of these things. So Golbat just barely making the cut at 10th place. I think it's a really cool Pokemon, but you know, there's definitely better choices. So I have my list on my phone, so you guys don't know where I'm going with my list. So yeah, we're gonna be moving on to number 9. I think a lot of people would probably put this Pokemon a lot higher, but I just haven't really used it yet, so I really don't know where to put it. So we're going to put Tentacruel here, and remember, Tentacruel is going to be a poison water type. So I would say out of the whole list, this is by far and away the most unique typing, but it also just comes with like a ton of weaknesses. Like, you're weak to Psychic, Ground, like, I guess you're not weak to Grass, but you're weak to like Electric, and it's really niche. It doesn't really provide, other than, you know, making it so you're not weak to Grass, it's neutral. It doesn't really provide any bonuses for gaining the water type. It's not really that great. It's not that great. It has really good special defense, and we're going to talk about it. My natures and moveset are kind of like meh, because like I said, I still haven't used this Pokemon yet. I'd love to use it if I had a perfect one, but again, this Pokemon is going to be a special wall. So we're going to look at like its stats. So we're going to use its base stats as like an example of what it should be. And note that I have like a special defense reducing nature and a defense boosting nature, which again is terrible, I know. This Pokemon is definitely better made as a special wall. So like, you want to go like Calm, for example. Calm's really good on this thing. Bold's decent if you want to be able to tank like one physical attack. He could also be used as like Timid or Modest. His special attack isn't terrible, and his speed stat is base 100. So if you want to go Timid and outspeed a bunch of Pokemon, if you can catch a lot of things on the Switch, you can get a lot of KOs. I've also seen people use Adamant and like Jolly Tentacruels, but that's in other formats where Tentacruel used to get Swords Dance. So this Pokemon can do almost anything. Like, he gets a really cool physical moveset, gets like Waterfall, Poison Jab, and a couple other really good moves. We're gonna look at it when we look at TMs later. But so yeah, he gets like a bunch of really cool physical moves, a bunch of really good special moves. The Ice Beam gets Mega Drain. That's actually really good at fighting other water types. Like, other water types are gonna have a real problem like getting in on Tentacruel, because most water attacks are special attacks, and like I said, Tentacruel's a special wall. If you're using Calm, and, you know, he's going to be able to bulk that damage out. This Pokemon gets so many cool moves. He gets the Stab, Sludge Bomb, and then the Scald has 30% chance burn. You could also put, like, Toxic and a couple other really good TM moves on this guy. But, again, I haven't really optimized Tentacruel yet, so hopefully I can make this Pokemon rise in usage, because I do think it's really cool. It's definitely one of my favorite Pokemon. But, you know, as it stands, it's going to be sitting at number 9, because there are so many good poison types. What's number 8? What's number 8? Oh man, number 8. You guys are gonna hate me. You guys are gonna hate me for this, because it's gonna make so much sense when we see the rest of the list. But this is gonna be number 8. Number 8's Victreebel. I know so many of you guys will put Victreebel in like a top 3, but Victreebel coming in at number 8. Victreebel coming in at number 8. It's the first grass poison on the list, and this Pokemon does things that no other Pokemon in the game can do. Right? So it's Adamant. I really think you can be Adamant. It's like a 70-ish base speed. So it's not like super fast. It doesn't really get any speed boosting moves. So you don't really have to go Jolly on this thing, but I really recommend Adamant because it is a physical attacker. And again, it gets Swords Dance. It's going to be able to double your attack. You got Sleep Powder, so you can come in on something that you're slower than, or something that like can't KO you. Pop a Sleep Powder, pop a Swords Dance, and then you can just one-shot like everything with Power Whip. You can absolutely absolutely one-shot everything with Power Whip, do huge damage to Sucker Punch. This is a priority move, 70 base priority move. This is gonna, like, after a Swords Dance, you're gonna be one-shot in Mewtwo's, one-shot in Gengar's, one-shot in Alakazam's, and one-shotting, like, most sweepers after rocks damage. So let's like, take an example. What's a really, like, a frail Pokemon that you can probably, like, one-shot? Like a Persian? A Persian after Stealth Rock's damage might go down to like a +2 Sucker Punch, like Eradicate or something like that. Like a frail sweeper would go down to like a +2 Sucker Punch after Rocks, I imagine. Look at that attack stat, it's just massive. It's huge. So Victreebel, really cool Pokemon. Definitely slept on. This Pokemon can be like the Swiss Army knife that's thrown into a team to give it a little bit more niche, like, factor. Like, this is the type of Pokemon that can, like, come back and win a game. Like, if you take out, like, the two things that can check it, like, if your opponent has, like, a Charizard or a couple other, like, Pokemon that really check the Victreebel, you can fodder, like, two of your Pokemon just trying to take out that main threat to your Victreebel, come in at the right time, pop a Sleep Powder, get a couple Swords Dances, and just sweep the game. The game will absolutely be dominated by Victreebel. And that's not something that a lot of Pokemon can do. So, like, I really do recommend Victreebel for those of you guys that want to try a cool Pokemon because it has a playstyle completely all its own. So, we're moving on. Man, there are so many good poison types. And this is another Pokemon I know a lot of you guys would put a lot higher in the list, but I don't like it, and we're going to talk about why I don't like it. It's going to be Nidoqueen. And a lot of you guys are like thinking, Nidoqueen is busted. Nidoqueen's like one of the tier 1 leads in the game. And I hear you. I totally hear you. But I do not like this Pokemon. I don't like the things that it brings to the table versus the things that the other Pokemon in its same respective roles bring to the table. Nidoqueen is the bulkier version of the Nido partner. It's the first ground poison Pokemon on the list, and we're going to check it out. My Nidoqueen is not competitive. Don't mind my nature. We're going to talk about natures. This Pokemon can be physical or special, so you can go something like Adamance, or you can go something like Modest, or you can go something like Bold or Impish, or you can go like Careful or Calm, or you can go Jolly or Timid. Really, this Pokemon can do almost any nature because it has a great physical move pool, it has a great special move pool, it's really bulky if you want to play it into increasing your bulk. Like, every single one of those options has like a place and a moveset for it. Right, so this Pokemon can do almost anything, which is why people like it. It's bulky enough to do anything, and it just sticks on the board for a very long time. But because it can do so many things, it's a jack of all trades, master of none. I really do feel in, like, if you're just learning the game, if you're learning like a new playstyle, yeah, totally use Nidoqueen. And then once you figure out what kind of Nidoqueen you want to use, you can just go like, oh, it's like, oh man, I really like having that bulky Stealth Rock user lead. Well then, maybe you use a Rhydon. Or it's like, man, I really like having that Stealth Rock user that can also taunt. Well then, maybe you go like Aerodactyl, or like, man, maybe I really like having like a Stealth Rocks user that can check other Stealth Rocks users, like you know, like with Surf and stuff like that. Well then, you go Nidoqueen if you want, but you know, Nidoking is a little bit better. So you see what I mean? There's always a little bit better options to expand on from Nidoqueen. What Nidoqueen does bring to the table, though, a lot of people really do like the fact that it gets like Super Fang, and I'm going to talk about Super Fang because a lot of people are like, where's Super Fang? Why aren't you using Super Fang? Because I'm not. Super Fang does half, right? So what Super Fang does, it's a 90 base accuracy move, and it does half of the target's total HP. Nidoqueen is strong enough to do over half to like any Pokemon, and it earns enough TMs to where you can hit a super effective move on anything. It gets, like I said, an amazing physical move pool, amazing special move pool. Like, I feel people that use Super Fang and people that just use Nidoqueen are lazy. It's lazy. It's negligent in team building because you can just optimize it better. That slot can be better optimized. I actually do think Nidoking is a lot better a lot of the time. But anyways, so I think it's great because it gets Stealth Rocks, it also gets Taunt, it gets Dragon Tail. It's one of the better Dragon Tail users because it's so bulky. Remember, Dragon Tail, it's going to be like a -6 priority move, and it's going to be 60 base power move and switch them out in Roar. So the strategy here is you can taunt them to make sure their rocks don't go up, put up your own rocks, and you can Dragon Tail them out. And so every single Pokemon that comes back in is going to take more Stealth Rocks damage, and you're dealing damage with Dragon Tail. Also, it gets that Stabbed Earthquake, really good move, but again, also you can put like Ice Beam, Surf, Thunderbolt, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Fire Blast. This Pokemon gets everything. So good. I'd like to use one of these as well, just as a little bit. I feel that if I were to use Nidoqueen, like, a lot of these movesets, more often than not, are just basic movesets for you guys to get examples of how to play these Pokemon, but I would play these Pokemon so much better than everyone else does if I had the option. Like, I would totally do I don't even want to spoil it. Maybe I'll use it in another video. Bust out the craziest Nidoqueen set you ever seen. But yeah, Nidoqueen is pretty good, but it's not really amazing. It's Jack of all trades, master of none. And that means it's 7th. It's 7th. And we're going to be going to number 6. And this is a Pokemon that you guys would have probably actually thought was like super tier 1. But like when, again, you guys start to see the list, it starts to make sense that something like Venomoth just doesn't make the cut. And Venomoth is one of the best sweepers in the game. It's one of the best sweepers in the game. It's the first bug. It's the first bug poison on the list. And being bug poison, it doesn't really get a lot. Actually, the reason why it's so low is because it's bug poison. It's weak to Stealth Rock's damage, so it's really hard to set up with this thing. But note that it gets Sleep Powder, it gets Quiver Dance. It's the best Quiver Dance user in the game. The user performs a beautiful Mystic Dance, boosting a special attack, special defense, and speed by 1. And note that it has a 70 base. So like after a +1, you're going to be able to outspeed so many Pokemon. You're going to be able to, actually, did I say 70? I'm so sorry. It has a 90 base. 90 base! Yeah, Butterfree has 70. This thing has a 90 base speed, and it's getting +1s. So if you make this thing a plus speed nature like Timid, you have to be timid. Like, I won't take no for an answer, guys. You got to be timid on this thing. If you want to go modest, you're sacrificing going second in a couple key matchups to some of the faster Pokemon, like some of the Megas, like, you know, Mega Alakazam and Mega Beedrill and, you know, Mega Aerodactyl, Mega Mewtwo Y, and stuff like that. You just don't want to risk it. So you gotta go, timid, so you can be fast as you could possibly be. But anyways, so yeah, Venomoth, best Quiver Dance user in the game because it's the fastest. That's the main reason why. You only have to use 1 Quiver Dance with Venomoth versus all the other Quiver Dancers, like Butterfree, for example, you have to use 2. And again, Venomoth just has slightly better stats. Sleep Powder, 75% chance to put him to sleep. So the way you want to play Venomoth, come in on something that you're a little bit faster than, put a Sleep Powder up, get 1, maybe 2 Quiver Dances off, and just sweep people. You got Bug Buzz, you got Psychic, I'm pretty sure it gets Mega Drain. It also gets Sludge Bomb, bunch of really cool moves on this Pokemon. A lot of people really like using Mega Drain over Psychic. I think it's a personal preference. I don't like being walled out by fighting types, because a lot of fighting types have Rock Slide. Rock Slide's pretty good against me. I don't like dealing with that. That's why I like Psychic. It kind of works. Also, like, if you were to use Mega Drain, you're completely walled by, like, Gengar, which is still relatively popular. And also, like I said, Poison types are so good! Every team has Poison types. This Poison type beats the other Poison types. But if your moveset's like Buzz Buzz and Mega Drain, like, you're gonna get walled out by Nidoking or Nidoqueen. You see what I mean? It's Mega Drain's, like, great, but, like, you don't have enough damage to really do it, and they can just one-shot you right back. So, Venomoth is an amazing Pokemon. You gotta go Timid. Very one-dimensional playstyle on this thing, but I think it's pretty good. So, we are going to be moving on to the first part of the TM portion. So we're just going to briefly look over the TMs. I don't really want to even go over the TMs that long. I'm just going to briefly go over some of them. And remember, the reason why I go over these TMs is to show you guys what secret stuff you got to be, you know, watching out for. Like the other day, like I always use Brick Break as an example. You got to know what earns Brick Break. If you've ever had 2 of your screens broken at once by something using Brick Break, it happened to me on the last stream yesterday. Oh my gosh, it's the worst feeling in the world. I had dual screens up, and this Scyther came in and Brick broke me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that was just game over. But yeah, so obviously Nidoqueen, like I said, can learn Blizzard. So can Tentacruel. It's not that great. I think I'm actually gonna go through this a lot faster. We're just gonna go through and talk about the ones that actually do matter, and not talk about the ones that don't. Nidoqueen getting Drill Run, it's great in doubles. Let's see, Dig not optimal on any of these things. Maybe. Tentacruel getting D-Gloom is actually kind of unique, especially in doubles, because you don't really think of Tentacruel as like an AoE monster, but hey, I think that definitely works. Only thing those Earthquake gets it. Like I said, Nidoqueen can get Fire Blast and Fire Punch. Has great special attack stat, great physical attack stat, so it's personal preference. This is great for checking things like Melmetal. They're really not going to see this one coming, so if Melmetal's a problem, maybe you tech that Fire Blast. Nothing's learning Foul Play. We already got Fly. Note that Golbat didn't used to get Fly. It used to be only Crobat got Fly. And now, like, Golbat gets, so that's one of the reasons why I have it. I think it's actually pretty good. Flamethrower is an option if you don't want to go Fire Blast or something like that. Already got the Ice Beams, Ice Punches. Outrage, Nidoqueen can learn it, not really optimal. There's the Mega Drain. All of these things except for Nidoqueen can learn Mega Drain. Like, I talked about it on Golbat. I did. Tentacruel already has it. Victreebel gets it, but it's a special attack. Victreebel's a physical attacker, and Venomoth can get it. It's personal preference, whether you think you need it or not. Light Screen, no one's really on a Light Screen. No one's on Prayer Rough. things that learn Psychic learn Psychic. Note that Tentacruel gets Reflect. I remember, like I said, Tentacruel. Oh, Nidoqueen also gets Reflect. That's pretty good. But Tentacruel getting it is pretty good because that's such a low base defense stat. Such low base defense stat. It might be a great Reflect user. Scald's on the things that learn Scald. You know, Venomoth learning Roost. You don't really need it, but I've seen people use it. I've definitely seen it. Get like, you want to go for like the +6 Calm Mind, or sorry, +6 Quiver Dance. That's the way to do it. Rock Slides, I've seen it on Nidoqueen before. Self-destruct, no one's popping off. Shadow Ball, you know, again, Nidoqueen showing it can learn pretty much everything. Sludge Bomb is a great move on most of these Pokemon because most of them are mixed special attackers. Superpower, Nidoqueen can learn it, great for checking things like Snorlax and, you know, let's see, like Mega Gyarados, if you really expect them to go Mega Gyarados. Maybe like an Impish Nidoqueen might be able to level Waterfall, pop a Superpower right back in their face. Sub's great on all these things. Nidoqueen getting Stealth Rock is obviously amazing. Solar Beam, LOL. Surf is really good on Nidoqueen if you want to one-shot Rhydon and Golem. It actually, even from a neutral nature Nidoqueen, so as long as you're not lowering your special attack stat, you will one-shot Rhydon and one-shot Golem. And even if you have a minus special attack stat, like Adamant, you're still going to one-shot Rhydon, but you go into like a 95 to I think like 111 range on Golem. So just letting you know, Surf on Nidoqueen will one-shot those two Pokemon, but I really just think you can taunt them, and if they Earthquake you, well, it's not the end of the world. They didn't get their rocks up. So, yeah, Taunt's pretty good. Thunderbolt, Nidoqueen gets it. X-Scissor, no one's taking that. No Will-O-Wisps. U-Turn, Golbat getting U-Turn is actually really valuable. You can totally put U-Turn over Fly. If you want, I think it's a decent U-Turner. Like, I really do think it's a decent U-Turner because, you know, you don't always want to just sit there. But, again, U-Turn's not that great if they have, like, rocks up, and so it's really team-dependent. Toxic Grid and all these things, remember, can't miss. Megahorn, Nidoqueen not winning Megahorn's kind of lame, but it is what it is. No one's getting the Thunder Wave. Waterfall, like I said, only on the Tentacruel. Iron Tail on Nidoqueen, that's kind of funny. I don't think even an Adamant Nidoqueen would take out Aerodactyl, though. Let's see. Dream Eater. Venomoth can get Dream Eater, that's hilarious. That's actually kind of funny, but I do not recommend that. Poison Jab. Only one that's really good with Poison Jab here is Victreebel. Just because you're at +2, you're still able to one-shot things. Nidoqueen can get it, Tentacruel can get it, but it's not amazing. No one's learning Bulk Up, and Dragon Tail's on Nidoqueen. So yeah, I went through that pretty fast compared to how I normally like to do it. But we're going to be moving on to the top 5. So this is the good stuffs. This is the good stuffs. The best of the best. Poison Pokemon. And we're going to be starting off with a Pokemon a lot of you guys might actually thought would get number 1, I think. It's going to be my boy Gengar. Gengar going in at 5th. Wow. I know it's blowing your mind, right? Isn't that actually just blowing your mind? The Gengar, one of the best poison types ever made, is 5th. And we're going to talk about why it's actually 5th in just a sec as we hop into the set. So this is my complete competitive Gengar. It's actually going to be timid. You have to be timid. I will not argue about this. You gotta be timid. Timid is gonna raise your speed and lower your attack stat, and because Gengar is a special attacker, it fits perfectly. And note that regular Gengar is base 110 speed, and so you have to be able to maintain that. It's so important. Like, if you're getting outsped by like base 100s and just eating earthquakes from like everything, because everything gets earthquake, that's no bueno. You know, you have to do it. And then when he Mega Evolves, if you decide to Mega Evolve, you go up to 130. And, you know, that's a little bit of a double-edged sword. That speed tiering in particular, 110 and 130, because there's so many Pokemon that are 110. Alolan Raichu, for example, is one. You know, Tauros is another one. Both those Pokemon have super effective moves that can one-shot your Gengar. You know, and then let's go up to 130. We got Aerodactyls at 130, Jolteon's at 130, Mewtwo's at 130, and, you know, both Mewtwo and Aerodactyl can then Mega Evolve to be faster than Gengar. So the reason why Gengar is so low is because it can't guarantee that it goes first. And all the things that it's trying to, like, speed tie with, one-shot it right back. So, like, Gengar is the master of 50-50 coin flips, and it's still an amazing Pokemon. It does something that no other Pokemon in the game can do. It's the best Ghost type by far. First Ghost Poison, and we're going to look at my moveset here. I like Substitute because, again, if I can set up a sub very safely, Gengar, like, resists a lot of types. Like, it has a 4 times resist to Poison, 4 times resist to Bug. It's really going to be good at walling certain types, and especially if you pair Willows with it, there's a lot of Pokemon that can't actually break the sub. And the reason why I think sub is so important on Gengar is because, like I said, it speed ties so many Pokemon that you don't just want to die. Like, let them break your sub. You're going to one-shot them back. Like, Raichu, Like, you're gonna one-shot that Raichu. You burn a Tauros. A Tauros is useless. Like, burn, Sludge Bomb, Tauros is gonna go down. It's great. If you can get, like, Shadow Ball from Mega Gengar on a Mewtwo, like, you're golden. All you gotta do is guarantee that you don't die first. A lot of people really like seeing Psychic. A lot of people like seeing Mega Drain. I really do think that this moveset, if played correctly, gives you so much more survivability and brings so much more versatility to the team. Like, think about, for example, like, if you have a Gengar out and you KO something, a lot of people can just bring out like a Dragonite, and Dragonite's a really big sweeper right now. You pop an Agility and you just sweep them out. Well, if I Will-O-Wisp you, like, you're just useless. You're totally useless. Even if Earthquake's not gonna KO. And, you know, if I were to just Sludge Bomb you or Shadow Ball, it wouldn't do nearly enough, and you would just sweep me out. But now that if I have Will-O-Wisp, I definitely have the option to stop you. So there's a lot of situations in which Gengar's really, really good. You do not have to go Mega, but another problem about Gengar is, like, let's say, you're like, fine, you know, I'm just not going to use it Mega. Well, like, why wouldn't you just use something else? That's, like, the thing about Gengar. It's like, well, if you're just not going to go Mega, like, let's say you already have, like, Mega Gyarados in your team that you want to go Mega with, like a Mega Charizard or something else that you, like, would like to go Mega with that Pokemon. And you're just like, well, I'm just going to use Gengar for coverage. Why wouldn't you just use an Alakazam? You know, it gets, like, a much better moveset, has a much better speed tiering. Why wouldn't you just use a Starmie? It has much better typing. It has a faster speed tiering. You see what I mean? It's starting to be explained a little bit more. Why wouldn't you just use an Alolan Raichu? It gets Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave's higher priority on the, you know, priority list than Will-O-Wisp, in my opinion. Has better coverage, in my opinion, too. So, it's like, Gengar's great! But without, like, abilities in this game, and without, like, Eevees to, you know, min-max it and give it the one-shot potential it needs on a lot of Pokemon, it just falls a little bit short. So I know I'm taking a lot of time to talk about Gengar, but I really do feel that it's great, but not amazing. And hopefully you agree with me. As always, you guys can talk about it in the comments below. So Gengar is number 5, staying alive. And maybe thinking, like, what the hell is better than Gengar? What's better than Gengar? Well, this is going to blow your minds, guys. It's going to absolutely blow your mind. Nidoking. Nidoking's better than Gengar. And you guys are saying, like, I know Nidoking's not better than Gengar. It's not. It's not better than Gengar. And before we look at the Nidoking, I want you to look at this list. I want you to look at the list. So, poison types are very popular. There's at least one, sometimes 2 poison types in every single team. We've already talked about the fact that poison types are very dominant in the meta. What's one Pokemon that can, like, one-shot almost all of these poison types? It's Nidoking. Nidoking has a stabbed Earthquake. It has a very good base speed, and I feel that we talked a lot about Nidoqueen earlier. Nidoking, again, another type of the Pokemon. I have a Jolly one. You can go any sort of freaking nature you want. You can be adamant, modest, timid, jolly. You can even go like naive and be like a mixed attacker. Again, this Pokemon I really think is best to go some sort of offensive like stat because it's like a Nidoqueen, but then you take like the defenses and you put them a little bit more in your offensive. It's like a little bit faster. It has a little bit more base offensive stats, and I really do think Nidoking is an amazing Pokemon right now. So yeah, my moveset is very similar to the Nidoqueen moveset. Note that Nidoqueen had like Dragon Tail, and I have Ice Punch. I've also used things like Poison Jab. I've also used things like, I've used Rock Slide before. This move is just completely up to you. The reason why I have Ice Punch is because the team I was using it in, like, you always are going to be going for Earthquake. But I was starting to fight against a few Zapdoses and a few Dragonites. And it wasn't just the Zapdos. If it was just the Zapdos, I would use Rock Slide. But it was the Dragonites. I'm starting to fight against a few Dragonites. Also, Ice Punch kind of helps you fight Grass types a little bit. So, like, this is very good coverage on this Pokemon, in my opinion, and it has a faster Taunt, it has a faster Stealth Rock, and a lot of the times, like, you're going to be surprised. Like, start watching the YouTube videos. Nidoking is on the rise. Nidoking is so good right now. It's the perfect Pokemon. It has just enough speed to outspeed things, and it hits just hard enough. It has Stealth Rocks. It gets access to, like, a super wide move pool, and it just brings a lot to the table, and my webcam's starting to fall. Yeah, I think Nidoking is an amazing Pokemon, and one of the reasons why I think it's a little bit better than Gengar is, first of all, I listed like 5 things that are replacement for Gengar, like Starmie, Alakazam, and, you know, the couple other things that I listed. There's not really that many replacements for Nidoking. Like, the closest thing I could think about that's a replacement is, like, Aerodactyl, and Nidoking and Aerodactyl work great together because this is, like, the opposite typing. Like, you can switch in Nidoking to block electric attacks for Aerodactyl. Another Pokemon that's similar, but not good enough, is Dugtrio, and Dugtrio's a little bit faster, but Dugtrio doesn't get Taunt. So, Nidoking does something that, like, no other Pokemon can really do. The only other Pokemon that's a good switch out for Nidoking is Nidoqueen. And so I think it's a very, very good Pokemon, and unlike Gengar, you do not need Mega to use it to its fullest potential. Like, Nidoking's kind of just like Mega Nidoqueen, in my opinion. It's so good. It's an amazing Pokemon, and it's going to be coming in at number 4. Number 4. So moving on to the top 3. We're moving on to the top 3, guys. And who's it going to be? We still have a few left. We still have a few Pokemon left. Top 3, it's going to be Venusaur, guys. Venusaur is going to be number 3, and one of the reasons I think Venusaur is amazing, by the way. Venusaur is so good, and it's another Pokemon that can be Mega. It's the second grass poison in the list, and we're going to take a look at it here. Note that I like using Sassy Venusaur. I like running this Pokemon bulky, but I've also seen people run this Pokemon like speed-natured. I've seen like naive and jolly ones that have like mixed sets with like Earthquake to be able to take out Alolan Mucks and like, you know, other electric Pokemon. It's really underrated how fast this Pokemon is. It has an 80 base speed, so it can actually outspeed a lot of other walls. You'd be very surprised. But I also just think a really nice bulky Venusaur is really good. I personally like Sassy because I like going second with my sleep powders, but you know, like Calm and Bold, those are great. I've also seen a lot of Modest. Again, I like to make mine a Sub-Seeder. Again, this thing can also go Mega Venusaur and just get humongous bulk. I like Sub, Sleep Powder, Mega Drain, Leech Seed. Also, you can use Sludge Bomb on this thing. I think it's super good. It's kind of fast, but again, I said I like going second. So, Venusaur, very, very good Pokemon. Very standard Pokemon. Like, 90% of the teams you're going to see can be like, I need a Pokemon. Just throw a Venusaur in there. Like, I see your teams. I see your team 90% of the time. I get this. It's like, I need a Pokemon. I have Electrode, Aerodactyl, Starmie, some other, like, Zapdos, and then, like, some random Pokemon that they like, and then, like, they don't have any grass types. If you need any grass type, just throw this in your team. It's amazing. This Pokemon's just busted. And it can potentially go Mega. This Pokemon can do so much, and it doesn't have that big weakness to Stealth Rocks. That's, like, the thing. Like, I really like using Parasect, but you can't just throw Parasect in every team. Venusaur is not weak to Stealth Rocks, and that's one of the reasons why it's so high in this list. Obviously, not a lot of the Pokemon on this list are weak to Stealth Rocks, but it has so much usefulness throughout multiple parts of the game. It can wall out so many Pokemon and win you games all by itself, so I really do recommend Venusaur, and it's definitely solid enough to be in the 3rd slot. And so then there were 2. We're moving on to the top 2. It's going to be Alolan Muck. Alolan Muck is going to be numero dos. Alolan Muck. So this thing is going to be a dark poison. I think I said last time in my nature video, I said psychic poison. That's because it's purple. Like, it's like that. It's that psychic-y purple. Like, psychic yellow, see, I just called it psychic again. Like, purple yellow, it looks like it could be a psychic type if you're not paying attention. But yeah, it's going to be a dark poison. So the reason why this thing's so high on the list is because this is the only poison type that's not weak to psychic. It's a dark type. And so its only real weakness is ground. So as long as you're not, like, eating earthquakes, by the way, this thing can usually just eat one anyways, you're going to be totally fine. Alolan Muck, I have an adamant one, but I really do think it's best made as, like, impish or careful. Again, you can make it physical or special. I've seen people use special Alolan Mucks as well, with like Fire Blast and Mega Drain. Fire Blast hitting Melmetals, Mega Drain hitting things like Rhydons and Golems. I've seen this Pokemon do like a lot of stuff. It's great as a Toxic Scholar. Personally, the way I like to play it is I like to use it as like an Acid Armor Pokemon. Like I said, its only big weakness is its defense, like Earthquakes and stuff. So if you boost its defense ×2 with Acid Armor, and use Rest to make it so you don't get like Will-O-Wisp and have that sustainability, you're going to be able to Toxic Stall people out every time. I've also seen people use sets like, you know, if you change my set a little bit and you were to go like, you know, like Rest, well, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people use like a special Muck and use like Fire Blast, Mega Drain, some other attack like Toxic, and then they go like Foul Play. It also gets Foul Play, which one-shots a lot of Pokemon. You'd be very surprised. Foul Play is amazing on this thing. You can do so many things. A lot of teams can just benefit from just throwing this Pokemon in there. If you need a Pokemon, just a random Pokemon, you know, like I said, throw a Venusaur in your team. Well, if you really just need any Pokemon, just throw a Muck in your team. It's a little bit better. It's on the tier list. It's one slot higher than Venusaur. And again, this Pokemon does not take its Mega slot to be used as its fullest potential, and that's why it's so high on the list. Like, we're looking at Gengar, we're looking at Venusaur. Muck doesn't require the Mega slot. You could just throw this Pokemon in your team and be like, hey, your Alakazam, it's done. Donezo. Mewtwo? No. Mew? Nah, I'm good. Like, I'm gonna beat you every single time. And that's something that no other Pokemon can really do. Like, you can just, if you can make your team be so weak to Psychic and just have an Alolan Muck, and if you use it correctly, you're still gonna win. This Pokemon hasn't been that great for me. I get very unlucky when I use it. I'm sure you guys have seen in some of my videos, but I can't deny this Pokemon is absolutely busted. Probably the best Toxic Staller in the game, other than maybe something like Chansey. Great Acid Armor user, one of the best Crunch users, And this Pokemon is just amazing. So good. But in my opinion, it is not as good as the numero uno best poison type in the game. It's going to be my boy Beedrill, and it's not going to be regular Beedrill. It's only Mega Beedrill. If you were talking about regular Beedrill, regular Beedrill is like 12th. Like, I think Weezing's better than regular Beedrill, but Mega Beedrill is so good because what it does is it pins your opponent. It's control. It forces your opponent to react to what you're doing. This Pokemon has, I'm pretty sure, a 145 base speed turning, so that's going to outspeed Mega Mewtwo's. That's going to outspeed pretty much everything. Do you know how important that is? Do you know how important it is to go first against Pokemon you have super effective moves against? It's very important. It's the best, undisputed best U-turner in the game. It's the undisputed best Poison Jab user. I think it's amazing because it also gets Drill Run. So against these other poison types, you know, why did I say Nidoking was so good? Because it can one-shot other poison types. Beedrill can do the same thing after they've taken a little bit of damage. Note that Drill Run's just a little bit weaker, doesn't stab it. But Beedrill packs a punch, and like I said, if you're Jolly, you're 145. That's so fast. That's faster than Jolteon. That's faster than regular Aerodactyl. Watch out for that Mega. Faster than so many things. U-turn's going to be able to let you hit and run so that you never have to take damage. As long as you're not taking Stealth Rocks every time you switch in, you're great. Also gets Sub. And note that I have Sub and U-turn. The way it works is if you have Sub, just don't use U-turn until your Sub's broken. And it lets you be able to tank so many more attacks. This Pokemon is extremely one-dimensional. You have to be Jolly on it. And I actually think it's kind of funny. I was looking up strats. Not strats. I was looking up stats. Mega Beedrill. We're just throwing this out there. We're just talking about stuff. Mega Beedrill has 15 base special attack. 15 base special attack. Like Weedle has like 3 times the special attack base that Mega Beedrill does. I think it's funny. But anyways, so yeah, Mega Beedrill, really good Pokemon. I think it's absolutely amazing. And I know a lot of you guys aren't gonna rank it as high on the list because like it's a Pokemon that caters to a certain playstyle. If you have a Beedrill on the team and you also have like a Gengar and like an Aerodactyl, you can't go Mega with those because it makes Beedrill 100% useless. But Beedrill is just so worth it, in my opinion. It is so worth it. This Pokemon, you can't beat it. It's just like, I mean, I know when I'm playing against this Pokemon a lot of the time, I'm like, fuck, that Pokemon's gonna take out like 3 of my Pokemon because you can never hit it back because it always U-turns. And after Stealth Rocks damage a lot of Pokemon, it's gonna be able to KO most things. It's going to be able to KO most things. That Poison Jab is huge. That U-turn is huge damage. It can sub, so it can like block status moves and stuff like that. I think it has an amazing moveset, amazing speed turning, just enough attack, and great overall typing for what it needs to do. Very good Pokemon. I'm like actually not a fan of Beedrill at all. Just because I like Butterfree does not mean I like Beedrill. In reality, I kind of like dislike Beedrill a lot because it's like the rival to Butterfree. But Beedrill is going to be numero uno. We're going to talk about some TMs. Hopefully your list looks like mine. I want to know in the comments below if we had very similar lists. We're just going to talk about the TMs that matter here. Brick Break, Beedrill can learn it. That matters. So can Muck. Watch out for that. Kind of sucks. Calm Mind, no one's learning Calm Mind. Dark Pulse isn't great. Obviously, Drill Run's really good on Beedrill. Nidoking can learn Drill Run as well, but that's only really relevant in doubles. Let's see, anyone's learning. Gengar can learn Dazzling Gleam. Again, kind of like Tentacruel, you don't really expect it. You know, you don't really expect it, so it's actually going to be kind of good. But Earthquake, the things it can learn it. Muck, like I said, Fire Blast, great for Melmetal, who has a low base specialty. If they catch you going for, like, if they think you're going to Toxic, Fire Blast is going to be a 2-shot on Melmetal, so it's really underrated. And Muck has even at, like, an Adamant Muck, Fire Blast will still get the 2-hit KO, so it's really good. Other than that, let's see, like I said, Foul Play, also amazing on the Muck. We're going to talk about Foul Play. The user turns the target's power against it. The higher the target's attack stat, the greater damage it deals. So the way it works is, one thing, so like Beedrill, for example, if I go Mega Beedrill, my defenses are like, I'm literally a glass cannon, right? And if you crunch me, I'm going to be able to live the crunch. But Foul Play is going to make me pretty much hit myself with a 95 base Dark move. And I'm just going to one-shot myself. Right, and so the reason why Foul Play is good is because you're afforded the luxury of going something like Modest on the Muck and going full into using like a Mega Drain Fire Blast set, or you're afforded the luxury of not putting any amount of nature into offense on the Muck and still being able to one-shot things. Like Foul Play deals huge damage, and I think Muck is probably the best Foul Play user in this game, in my opinion. A lot of people always say, you gotta use Foul Play on Electrode. No, you don't. Like, Foul Play is only really good on this Muck, in my opinion. So if you're ever gonna use Foul Play, I highly recommend it on a low one Muck. Ice Punch, I already got it on my Nidoking, but also note that Nidoking can be a Mix Sweeper with Ice Beam as well. So Helping Hand, not really important here. Light Screen, Venusaur can learn it. That's kind of cool. Mega Drain, Venusaur already gets it. Like I said, I already recommended on the Muck. Already talked about recommending it on the Gengar. It's pretty good because poison types have like problems with like rock and ground types, and Mega Drain's pretty good. If you have like some boosts or if they're not at full, you can definitely KO those Pokemon. It's pretty good. Note that Mega Beedrill, Venusaur, and Nidoking can learn Outrage. I really do not recommend this move. What are you going to be hitting with Outrage? Dragonite? You might as well just go for like, if Dragonite's really a problem, yeah, maybe put it on the Beedrill, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. And if Charizard X is a problem, just use the sub, wait for it to Mega Evolve to see if it goes X, and then just hit it with a Drill Run if it's really that big of a deal. Reflect. Note that like Beedrill and Nidoking Corn, that's kind of cool. You don't see that often. Psychic, I talked about putting it on the Gengar, being able to fight other poison types. It's pretty good, but unfortunately, because you don't stab it, you don't get the big KO potential unless they're at like 60-70% left. So like even if that's right, so we get a follow. Cool Trainer Gold, you normally disable that, but yo, I take those. Thank you for the follow, my guy. We're having a good one. But yeah, Protect's not that great in this situation. Rest is good on the Muck. Rock Slide, I've talked about using that on the Nidoking. Roost, I've used it on Beedrill. I actually just think Sub's a lot better because, like I said, you're a Glass Cannon. You're not going to be taking any moves. The only situation in which Beedrill can learn Roost, I think that where it actually has value, is if you're fighting against a team that has, like, a bunch of Stealth Rock spam. So, like, the way it works is, like, I come with Beedrill, take 25% to Rocks. I U-turn out, I come back with it again, take 25% to Rocks. And you already know that, like, I'm probably going to be U-turning. And so if that turn, I pop a Roost, and then U-turn the next turn, I pretty much make it so I can switch in on 2 more sets of Stealth Rocks. And I guess that's a thing. I'd rather just use a team that doesn't let my opponent set up Stealth Rocks. So I'd rather do that than have Roost. But I have used it. I've done this before. It definitely does work. And it only really works if you know they're switching. Just like how Sub works. It works very similar to Sub, but I think Sub gives a little bit more versatility because it makes it so you can't get Sleep Powdered, can't get Thunder Wave, can't get Will-O-Wisp, stuff like that. So Scald, no one's learning Scald. Sludge Bomb's great on things like Venusaur and, I keep on calling it Antonio because that's why Vic named it, but Nidoking. It's not great on Mega Beedrill though, so I do not recommend. Shadow Ball's not that amazing. Muck can learn Self-Destruct and so can Gengar. That's kind of funny, but I do not recommend. I just think it's hilarious. Solar Beam, we got Stealth Rocks on Nidoking. It's amazing. Substitute, always an amazing move. Superpower, Nidoking can learn. It's kind of important for some specific matchups. Thunderbolt, again, Nidoking. Gengar can also learn Thunderbolt. I should have talked about that a little bit earlier. Gengar, Mega Gengar with a Thunderbolt. If they switch in something bulky, like a Lapras or something, probably going to be able to two-shot with Thunderbolt. Maybe it's something you want to add to your team. I guess it also could work against, like, Aerodactyl. Maybe Aerodactyl, after Stealth Rock's damage, Thunderbolt might be able to KO. Gengar has a bit of a problem with Aerodactyl because Sludge Bomb isn't that great against it, and like Shadow Ball doesn't do nearly enough. So maybe Thunderbolt, maybe you might want to think about that. Like it might get you like a one-shot on something like a Kingler. Like Mega Gengar Thunderbolt on Kingler. That's debatable. But I guess I totally feel that there is like viability for that as an option. Taunt's also pretty good. Muck can also learn Taunt. It's a great Taunt user. This Pokemon has like base 50 speed, so it's actually not super slow. You're gonna be able to taunt things like Chansey. You're gonna be able to taunt most of the common Rocks users like Rhydon, Golem and stuff like that. So Taunt on Muck, not terrible, especially if you want to deny those Rocks guaranteed. So Surf. Talked about using on Nidoqueen and Nidoking earlier. Toxin Grid and all these always can hit. U-turn, Beedrill gets it. No one's getting Will-O-Wisp but the Gengar, which you already have it on. X-Scissor, I've seen people use X-Scissor on the Beedrill over the sub spot, just in case you don't want to switch with the U-turn. I highly recommend that. If you don't think you're good enough to use sub, go for it. Totally go for the X-Scissor. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. This is the move that you use if you don't want to use sub. But I personally just think that sub is just a little bit better. A little bit higher threshold. Waterfall, nope. Thunder Wave, nope. Gengar can learn Thunder. I think it's kind of funny, so can Nidoking. Nidoking can also get Mega Horn, because it has a longer horn, versus Nidoqueen can't. So I've definitely used this before. If you think they're going to be switching in like a Psychic type, just pop that humongous Mega Horn right in their face. It's absolutely hilarious. Watch them go down. Like, it's great on Starmie switch-ins. It's great on, like, Alakazam switch-ins and stuff like that. Also deals, like, neutral damage versus, like, a lot of the grass poison types like Venusaur. So it's really up to you if you want to use, like, Mega Horn or Ice Punch. I like Ice Punch on mine. So Bulk Up, no one's learning that. Poison Jab, it's great on a bunch of these Pokemon. I've used it on Nidoking. I've used it on Muck. Beedrill already has it, so it's great. Dream Eater, got the Hypnosis Dream Eater Gengar potentially. I do not really like it, but it's always an option. Iron Tail, Nidoking can learn it. I don't really think it's that great. And Dragon Tail, again, Nidoking can learn it, but it's not really bulky enough to make it viable. So that is my list, guys. That is my list. My top 10 Poison-type Pokemon list. Hopefully it was the same as yours. You know, if not, I'm totally down to debate in the comments. You know, what order you think these Pokemon should be in. I really based it around, you know, the resources it takes to put something in a team, because like I said, Gengar's ranked a little bit lower because it takes away so many resources from your team. And, you know, something like Beedrill, while it does take a lot of resources, you get a lot more bang for your buck, and it's knowing that you're going first with the Beedrill against, like, every single Pokemon in the game other than, like, 2. That makes Beedrill so good. I wonder if you guys are all going to have Beedrill at number 1. So, again, let me know in the comments what your list looks like. Let me know in the comments what type you want to see me work on next. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.